For Samuel Chance, and I'm here with Flaunt Your Stage Presence. So, in just a second, my co host, Miss Lisa Noble, will join me, and we're going to be here to talk about more things regarding speaking and branding. And our whole goal is to make sure that as you are out there presenting yourself with your brand and what you say through your brand, you are eloquent and really, really flaunting the stage. So, a little bit about me. My name is Jennifer Samuel Chance. I'm an executive speech performance coach, and I ensure that when I work with executives and thought leaders and anybody that's on stage that really wants to make an impact, they have audiences hanging on the edge of their seats. So, we're going to wait a couple of minutes and see if we can get Lisa to join me. We're having a few. I'm going to keep talking until I guess I run out of stuff to say. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and to ensure that you realize how important it is to make sure that you take care of your stage presence while you're on stage. So we're going to do a little stuff here and see if Lisa's going to join me. And if not, I just might be doing this by myself. It's live, so anything can happen. I just warn you. Okay, so if there's anybody out there, please make sure you say hi and join me as we go ahead and talk a few things about actual stage presence today. I'm going to focus on what it's like when you're in front of audiences and some things that may seem small and not very important, but they make all the difference in the world and do not detract from your message. So again, waiting for Lisa to join me. Looks like that may more not happen. So in the interest of time, I think what I will do is just go ahead and share what I have to share with you. I know she has some key questions that typically she has for sure. And then I get a lot when people ask me exactly what I do and how do I do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it because I know in the interest of time, I want to respect your time and go ahead and share the information. And then Lisa will join me as soon as she can, or she'll join me on the next live. So today I thought I'd talk about what happens when you speak in front of an audience. And I'm going to fast forward and assume that everything has been prepared. You know what you're going to speak about. Now let's talk about actual delivery and making sure that when you speak to people, you're watching the way you speak and exactly the small things or the little things, the big things you may do in front of audiences. So let's talk about pacing. And by pacing, I mean actual vocal pacing. How fast do you speak? How slow do you speak? Typically, if we're speaking, and especially if we're in the zone, we may get into a mode where we're just going for gangbusters, we're enthusiastic, we're excited, may even be nervous. So if you have a natural speech pattern that tends to be on the fast side, that's going to show up for sure when you speak in front of an audience. And you've got to watch that because if you're speaking too fast and you tend to get excited, which means if you're like me, I speak even faster, the audience is getting this onslaught of information that may be too much for them because we do listen at different rates than what people speak at. So whether you speak too fast, another problem to have is actually if you speak too slow, because if you speak so slow that it takes people forever and ever to help you get to the maybe too slow for some people, and you'd lose them because they'll get bored or they'll be like this saying, hurry up internally and also probably physically too. So too fast or too slow. The sweet spot, of course, is in the middle where you speak fast enough so you keep people's interest, but slow enough so they can clearly understand what you have to say. So there are lots of ways of handling this. The top tip, I think, is to make sure that you're aware of what you're doing. So I recommend if you have a speech already prepared, or even if you take a piece of writing, whether it's something from the internet or a book, I highly recommend that you actually just get the piece of writing, a recorder, and then go ahead and read. Just go ahead and read it. And then stop the recording and then listen back. You may or may not be able to give yourself some feedback as far as how objective you'd be. And you may think, oh, it sounds just fine. But to other people, it may be too fast. So it may be that you offer that piece of recording to somebody else to listen to so they can tell you if it's too fast or too slow. Key to this is awareness. Me personally, my natural speech pattern is pretty fast. So what I tend to do is, and I've learned this from one of my coaches I had back in the day, is that I deliberately try and speak slower than I normally would. Now, for me, I'm used to this now, but when I first did this, oh my goodness, I was just crawling through, I don't know, the jungle and I couldn't get through, and it frustrated me here. And I had to let go of that because I said, you know what? It's not about me when I speak. It's about the audiences and making sure that they understand it at a rate that's comfortable for them. So I still have my moments when I get excited and I speak real fast and I can't help it. And what I tend to do then is be aware of that, slow it down so that you can understand. So that's pacing. Ums and ahs and vocal pauses. Now, the information I'm sharing with you is actually not new. And those of you that are familiar, of course, with the Toastmasters world, hey, Toastmasters out there, former Toastmaster, current Toastmaster. Ums and ahs and vocal pauses, what you do to fill space while you're sometimes thinking of what you're going to say, or sometimes you don't know what you're going to say, so you're just going to fill space anyway. Or you can do like I did before I started speaking professionally. I thought it really made me sound cool if I spoke like I kind of knew what I was talking about. Yeah, right. Not very effective, but I thought it was until it was pointed out to me that it was extremely distracting. So, just like I recommended regarding recording yourself and seeing whether you speak fast or slow, the rule applies. In fact, record everything that you pretty much do. That's going to be the overall recommendation to me. Record everything so that you can listen for those vocal pauses. Again, Toastmasters that may be listening to watching this or listening to this, you understand where I'm coming from. And I'll give a quick plug. They're not paying me, but it's a great methodology they have regarding pacing, regarding vocal pauses. So I highly recommend, if you haven't been part of a Toastmasters group or you haven't looked into it, go ahead and do so, because they have a cure that cures you pretty quickly. So again, vocal pausing, be very careful about the ums and ahs. I will also share this with you too. Now that I've told you about it and you hadn't possibly paid attention to it, you're going to be very much aware now of other people that do it. And me personally, I see a lot of it on television, which sometimes surprises me because it may be that the person that's being interviewed or actually just speaking in general, I think they've had training, so they should be aware of what they're doing, but maybe not. So, vocal pausing, be careful of that. What about nervous tics? Now, go on. I am really speaking to those of you that will be speaking in front of a live audience. This is not applied online. Some of it, not really. So be careful for what you do nervously. This could be, just rocking back and forth while you speak, or pacing back and forth physically while you speak. Or it could be that you scratch your ear, or you just hit your nose, or fiddle with your hair, or you've got something in your pocket, so you're moving. And a lot of these movements are unconscious, which means you don't even know you're doing it. Again, if you start recording everything you do, and this means video record, and take a look at it, you may be shocked at what you're doing because you don't realize you're doing it. I have several clients that I do this for, where especially when they first start working with me, I'll just have them speak and then record what they do. And then when we actually review the recording, we'll just take a look at it and I'll switch off the sound and actually sometimes speed up the video and just watch them doing what they do. And sometimes they're just walking up and down, back and forth, or they're scratching or doing whatever it is they should be doing. And then they can really have a good idea of, oh my goodness, I had no idea I did that in front of people. Like I said, I wish there'd be a magic wand that I had that I could stop people from doing that all the time. I am still guilty of it, and I've been speaking over 24 years. The main idea, though, is to make sure that you're aware that you do it. And as soon as you're aware of it, your brain just, stop it. Pacing, stop. Scratching, stop. Whatever it is. And then you calm down. You may pause in what you say just to gather yourself if it's not too distracting. And then carry on as you should without all of the distractions. So, a couple of these tips that seem very, very small, but make a huge difference when you're speaking, because guess what people may be speaking about? If it's too distracting while you're talking and you're scratching or pacing or doing whatever, then that's what they're going to be talking about more so than what you're actually speaking on. Okay, so I see we have a couple of people on the lines. Anne Marie, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And anybody else out there, be sure if you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll be able to grab them and take care of them for you while I'm on this live. So finally, a nice little extra, which you think may be self-explanatory and I shouldn't have to say, but yes, we need a reminder sometimes because we get busy, is to make sure before you speak is that you take care of yourself. If you're speaking impromptu, which means you really don't have that much time to do much of anything, they kind of say, okay, you're speaking, you're up, and they shove you out there. Okay, I understand you may not have time to really take care of you. But wherever possible, pause, you step on stage, take a deep breath. And I actually go before that. If you're speaking like in a conference setting, or you have a lot of advanced notice before you speak, I actually try and find a little space somewhere where I'm not disturbed and it's quiet, and I can just calm my mind. Now, I still have nerves. There are many professional speakers that still have tremendous amount of nerves. And what we do is we've learned to capture all of that, hopefully quieten it down a little bit so that you can still perform versus just going there and totally blanking out or bombing, which is sometimes what I used. Well, actually, yeah, I say that to myself actually sometimes when I still speak. Before I step on stage, I'll have a thought that says, "You're going to forget everything. You don't remember nothing." And I have to breathe and say, "You know your stuff, Jennifer. Just go do it." And then I step out. And then as soon as I step out and say the first couple of words, sentences, start my story, boom, I'm on. So take care of yourself beforehand. Make sure you hydrate, which means drink water. Some of you may need to drink something else or think you want to drink something else to get rid of those nerves. Be careful about that because that can get you in trouble if you go too far the scope of what you should be speaking about. But drink water to make sure you hydrate your brain, calm your system down, take some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I understand the nerves are probably still there. You may be jittery, you may be shaking, knees are knocking, but understand that you got this. Whatever it is you're going to speak about, you got this. Another tip is also too, is to kind of understand how it's sometimes better not to eat before you speak, especially if you're doing a major presentation. Because the times when the food particles, I'm not saying they're going to get stuck in your throat, but the residual may. If you eat something sugary and sweet, that's going to stay in your system. So that's why it's always better to, if possible, don't eat too close to when you're going to speak. Now, if you're going to pass out, you may want to eat a little something. But besides that, try not to eat too close to when you speak so that that residual stuff is not on your throat and won't hinder your voice before you start speaking. Okay, so that's all I'm going to share with you guys today. I see Lisa is joining. Excuse me. Hey, Lisa. Hey, everybody else that joined. And I hope these tips are going to help you become closer to be a world-class pro. These are tips that I will share with you and then Lisa when we get together again to make sure that whenever you step on stage, Lisa's going to tell you again more about branding and making sure that you what you possibly can. And then my job is to make sure is that you sound and you show up physically the best way you can. So if you have any questions, go ahead and you can still pop them in the chat. I'll be on for another couple of seconds. And if not, you can shoot me a DM or whatever platform you're listening to or watching me on to make sure that you get any questions answered. Again, my name is Jennifer Samuel Chance, Executive Speech Performance Coach. And my goal is to make sure that I have audiences along with you having it on the edge of their seats. So take care for today. Be sure you have a continued blessed day, and we'll see you next time.